Tonight, I will be interviewing Nimh of News. Nimh's cudgel is currently in lockdown. On Sunday, November 17th, Nimh will be releasing a new show. If you want to be interviewed by A Saurs of News, simply go to newsinc@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I am currently sitting down with Nimh. Now, Nimh, for those who don't know, who are you and what do you do around these parts?
Well, what I do is I get paid to go and do tasks for people that can't do it themselves for whatever reason.
By tasks, what do you mean? What jobs do you take on?
What needs to be done?
Well, Nimh, for those who are completely brainless out there, probably due to radiation, what needs to be done around here and how do you do it?
Okay, so some of the jobs I've been hired to do are either guarding somebody, killing somebody, retrieving an item, guarding a caravan, attacking a caravan, protecting a city, looting a city.
Yes, yeah. Alright, so in general, kind of all around bounty hunter, mercenary, that kind of type.
Pretty much. You know, throw a large enough number out there and tell me what the job's about, and we'll see what we can do.
Interesting, interesting. Do you enjoy the work?
I wouldn't keep doing it if I didn't.
Oh, yes, this is very true. Now, there are some out there who think you go too far when it comes to engaging your assignments. Is there any truth to that, or do you think that you are just?
Just is such a loose word. I mean, everybody's got their own different point of view about what's just or not.
Sure.
Sometimes maybe people think my tactics might be a little too aggressive, or no, I can't think of the other term right now, but yeah, too aggressive. But it gets the job done and I get paid, and there's usually not much harm to other properties that weren't constituted in the contract.
Yes, usually. Usually being the key term. As I recall, there is a recent scuffle in a small bakery, and the whole place it's been leveled. So it can get out of hand sometimes.
Actually, that wasn't really a fight. I was just really hungry.
Oh, my mistake. That wasn't an actual bounty.
No.
I should talk to my sources a little bit more. So, Nimh, about yourself, why do you favor axes so much when you are dealing out punishment to your targets?
You know, that one is just an in nature kind of thing, I think. I've always been more partial to that style of weaponry over swords or maces. I hold one in my hand and it just feels right. You know, we're meant to be kind of thing.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, my friend. I mean, you used that huge cudgel of yours. You walled me one good.
Oh, yeah, I don't say I don't use other weapons, but I prefer axes.
Thank goodness that thing is currently on lockdown. Otherwise, I might be in danger, am I right?
Your producers have an agreement with me, so I currently am not going to harm you.
Alright. Fair enough. Now, also,
Word from our sponsors. Never mind.
So, we have heard about your day job. How about you tell us a bit more about what you do in Ka?
You know, you should be glad that I promised your producers already, because it's not just Caw. It's Kalamazoo Armored Wrestling, and it's a subdivision of the Mercs.
Yes, Ka. Very good. And going on from that, what's your role in that company?
My role in that company is I am a performer who is considered the monster of the matriarch, the mountain of the matriarch, and the self-proclaimed patron saint of axes.
Yes, yes. That name, it seems to be being passed around, just hitting the airwaves. Is there a tale behind that?
The self-proclaimed self. You're talking about the saint one.
Yeah.
That's brand spanking new. Yeah, I don't think that's even really been in print yet.
Oh, well, it just hit. Anyways,
Oh.
moving on. I'm sure it'll spread.
Right, like wildfire.
Yeah, like the wildfires out west.
Man,
Anyway, so you are a performer in Ka, but some may think that you're a bit more, perhaps an enforcer type.
yes, that is one of my other duties within the Mercs group, the Call organization, is I'm the enforcer of law and justice within the group. And I get to deal that justice out in my own way.
In your own way, those are the words that you use. Isn't there someone who may take issue with that?
I'm sure there's plenty of people who take issues with that, but I was given a job by the matriarch herself, and unless she comes back and tells me it's not my job anymore, I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability.
However, there is the one big issue, the elephant in the room, to speak, and that is
A
that
Democrat? Sorry.
Philios is the voice of the matriarch, and as being her voice, doesn't he have a say in how you handle things?
He has a say, but it doesn't mean I have to follow what he says.
So if the voice is supposed to communicate the will of the matriarch,
I don't agree with that part. Sorry.
it was stated in the contract,
What contract?
the contract that you signed.
I haven't signed a contract with anybody recently except for fighting and combat. Oh, and my bounties.
Okay.
Are you talking about Caw? No, I do not have a contract with Caw right now. I just work for them. I'm still a freelance independent contractor.
So on that contracting work, moving on to new subjects.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I've been hearing tell of this recent tussle you had. It seems to me you were taken a bit by surprise by a certain just random felon.
Yeah. So, yeah, there was a recent scuffle. A situation happened that was unplanned. I was recently at my domicile, and I can't say a gentleman, of course. My natural reaction is to, but a person looking for someone else, I believe, kicked in my door, and so I had to protect myself because I was in fear.
Yeah. And word has it that you protected yourself with a piece of your own collection of weaponry.
Yes, I didn't have access to my main weapons, but I used one of my secondaries that I had around.
All right, and this storied weapon, what kind of weapon was it?
Well, all the different reporter types have been calling it a battle axe, but in my opinion, and how I bought it, it was labeled as a dungeon axe. It's kind of like what you think of a bearded Viking axe, but a little smaller and sleeker. I would think since it's a dungeon, it's for closer quarters, narrower walls, but you could still do the work that a bearded axe would do more in the open.
Now, the other reports make it out to say that you landed the first blow in that confrontation. Is that true?
I believe so. The intruder had the momentary, he had kicked in the door, and there was he had the pause from his side for the door to finish opening. I didn't have to wait for the door to finish opening to react to someone kicking in my door.
So you were already ready.
Right. As soon as that door came flying in, I was out of my seat. So he was stepped into the apartment, and he was like a good 2.5, 3 feet into the apartment when I struck him, pretty much halfway to 3/4 past my shoe rack that I had at the time before it got broke.
Now, Nimh, much of your training regimen that helped prepare you for this, most people don't know, what goes into it, but would you say that your training definitely gave you the upper hand in this confrontation?
At least at first, it definitely did. There was a moment where I lost control of the axe, and we both had to scramble for it, and we both had control of it, but I don't know how hard I don't remember the strengths contest. I just, it was a stalemate over the axe. And then he started yelling at me to shut up because I was calling for, local constabulary and assistance from anybody else who could.
Yeah.
And he ended up, shut up. And I'm just like, well, okay, shut up. And he's like, if I let go of the axe, will you swing it at me again? And we went back and forth a few times that way. Before I said no, I wouldn't swing at him, but we went back and forth, answering and questioning, and then he ended up letting go, and I did either some sort of somersault roll or some sort of maneuver, because at this point my back was to the open doorway, and so that's where he escaped from, and I wanted to get eyes on that doorway, just to make sure he had gone or he wasn't just standing there waiting for round 2.
Right.
But he had left. Yeah. Well, as it turns out, from the dude's arrest record, he was actually 6 foot and 250, which has got at least 4, maybe 5 inches on me, and hopefully 25 pounds ish, maybe. He's got, I think, a little more weight on me, but it was really scary at that point when we were fighting over the axe. Was when I was the most scared. But like I said, he left and all that. But after he left and blah blah blah, I actually couldn't find my cell phone. I had no idea where it had gone, so I couldn't use it to call myself, to get help. And I ran across the hall, knocked on the door.
Did anyone respond to you?
Not directly. My neighbor kitty corner from me on my floor, she came out and said she had called and contacted the local peoples, and I was like, oh, thank God, thank you, and went back into my apartment to await, and I stood there in the middle-ish of the apartment, not the living room, but in the middle-ish, just watching the door.
Yeah, just kind of soaking it all in, kind of. You were still kind of in that moment, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, when the police officer put his head around the corner, I didn't know what face or head was gonna show up there,
Right.
and thankfully it was one I didn't know, and then had a uniform, and I was like, oh, thank God! And like first things out of his mouth were, "Put down the axe."
Yes. Okay, sorry. So his first reaction was put down the axe. Did you even have the axe at the time when he came around that corner?
Oh yes, it was still in my hand. Like I didn't know if he was retreating to do like a feint, like a Sun Tzu maneuver, retreat and
Yes. Yeah.
get my guard down and come back around the other side. No clue what was gonna happen. So I wasn't letting go of the weapon.
Yeah. Did he have any accomplices, or was this a lone man strike?
He was the only one who entered the apartment. The police later told me that they found a couple people in the vehicle that he had traveled there in. Don't know anything more about it than that. For that aspect, none of them came to the door.
Now, Nimh, what would you say? What would you advise people to do in a similar situation?
I can't make that decision for anybody else.
Right.
That's something you choose to do based on your own nature and whatever you feel comfortable with, because it very easily could have turned into my death.
Right.
Very easily.
Yes, a very dangerous situation it was. Going forward from that, what are you doing to kind of get yourself away from that shocking event? Is there something that you do to kind of psychologically just get back to life?
I've been using some of the training that I learned back when I had issues with my initial PTSD diagnosis and understanding what that was all about. That's been helping a bit. The number one thing is having gone through not necessarily a similar event, but gone through a traumatic event and a traumatic event that I can kind of see and feel what's different. And recognizing those signs is the biggest thing, is realizing what's wrong or different now.
Excuse me, Mr. Saurs. We have an audience question.
Oh, sure.
How are you feeling now?
Now in general, it's a little bit more high strung. Like I noticed that loud noises or similar stuff that of course remind me of the event, of like sounds from the event, I'm more prone to be on edge faster than before. Everybody jumps for certain loud noises, but I get in quicker into fight mode than I do for how I used to before the event. I hope that answers you.
Did you want to say anything to like the officers? Were they helpful or?
Oh, very. Like I was so happy to see police officers. It is normally not usual for me, but I was so happy to see them because I needed help and they were there. And
Goes with that saying that you don't really like police until you have to call them.
right, that old saying, right?
Yeah. Well, Neem, we've had a good talk this evening. You have anything else to say before we leave tonight?
Yes, I'd actually really like to thank the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Department for responding as quick as they did and for apprehending him as much as they did. And that dog, whatever that dog's name, I love it.
Well, folks, some very last words from an interesting night. You see, you can never really know when something might go down, someone might attack you, and you never know how you will respond in that moment. But one thing I've learned tonight is that if you train, if you work hard and prepare yourself, you are more likely going to survive that incident and have a better outcome. Be vigilant, folks. This is Phil A. Saurs of Con News. Property of Con News, a Merck's production. It may not be reproduced without our authorization. This interview is made for entertainment purposes. You can reach us at connewsinc@gmail.com.